So when I wake up in the morning, one of the things that I do is I take a bucket, much like this one, and it's full of gray water. Gray water that has been rescued from last night's dishes. There's normally some quinoa that's floating in there, along with some kale. But don't worry, we wash our buckets once a week, so they don't get too gross. But with this water is how I flush my toilet, and how my roommates flush our toilet. After that, I normally pack my lunch into my bag, and I walk or ride my bike, or this winter, snowshoe, to NMU's Center for Student Enrichment, where I work as the coordinator for EcoReps. EcoReps is a peer-to-peer sustainability education program, and that house where I use a bucket to flush the toilet is the Marquette Climbers Cooperative, which is a housing project focused on sustainability. Quite frankly, sustainability is core to who I am. I cannot separate myself from it, and it informs every single one of my decision-making processes. So I've said the word sustainability a lot, and before I was born, it was called a buzzword in the 1990s. But since I'm still using it, I don't think it's a buzzword anymore. But what sustainability is where the environment, social equity, and the economy intersect. One way to think about it is concentric circles. So our middle circle is the economy, which is constrained by what we can equitably provide to all members of society. And that is constrained by what we can sustainably harvest from our environment. Sustainability is the way that we provide for the needs of today without compromising the needs of the future. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about why I love sustainability so much. I'm going to talk about the reflection process I've went through to discover what experiences made sustainability so important for me. And for me, that begins growing up on a farm in Lower Michigan. I would climb the leg with my brothers to the top of a feed bin right before sunset, and we would watch the sunset over fields of corn, knowing that corn is how our parents were going to be able to send us to school in the fall. I ran through those same cornfields with them during the day, and we would take a piece of corn on the ground and throw it into the cornfield and try to find it back as if we knew which one it was. And while my father worked on the farm, and eventually my older brother did as well, my mom was a public school teacher. From the farm, I got a wonderful love of the earth, from playing in streams that I was specifically told not to play in. And from my mother, I got a love of learning. And that was developed through a lot of struggle. When I was in 2nd grade and 3rd grade and 4th grade, I was reading several reading levels behind my peers. I remember when everyone else got to read novels, and I was in the 1st grade section. Sorry. My mom took me to every library within a 100-mile radius and gave me every book that I wanted. She taught me how to love learning through hard work and resiliency, and she made me the resilient person I am today. And for this intersection of love of the earth and love of knowledge gave me a jump with both feet attitude when I got to college here at Northern. And so I declared my environmental science major on a whim because the man on the administration phone told me that it would be a good idea for me to declare something. So I said, why not environmental science? I got to Northern, and this bucket was, again, important to me because I said, where's the composting system? And I was told, we don't have a composting system. So I said, okay, I'll make a composting system. And a 5-gallon bucket from a sub shop that still kind of smells like pickles is the perfect composting bucket. But it didn't work. It lasted a year, and that was fine. And then I found myself, well, if I can't decompose things, I might as well grow things. And I found myself president of our garden club, running our South Superior Acre Permaculture Garden. Last summer, I cried at the Superior Acre Permaculture Garden because it was being taken away from the students, and we no longer had a student garden. If you've ever cried in a weed patch in front of the head of your department, it's not fun. But once again, this bucket was important because this is how we transferred those plants that were in that garden to new homes and let them continue to live. After my freshman year, I wanted to do things, as most college students do. So somehow I found myself on a 500-mile bike ride going across the state of Montana. I had never ridden more than 20 miles on my bike before. So every day that we rode, it was the longest that I have ever ridden. And this wasn't an ordinary bike trip. It was an experiential education. So I got to talk to many people in the climate movement. I got to talk to coal miners who are going to lose their jobs because our economy is moving away to coal. And while that's good for our atmosphere, these men and women no longer have jobs, and they're going to have to move away from their community. And that is tragic. And we can't villainize the people who make a living by simply doing what they have always done. And I got to see glaciers in Glacier National Park that my children might not be able to see because our atmosphere is warming at that rate. So today, I take this empathy that I developed for seeing these coal miners and these glaciers, and I take the resiliency that my parents taught me, and I reflect on these experiences. And I think these experiences are universal, because who among us hasn't struggled in school, and who among us hasn't had a wonderful day outside, and who among us hasn't had an emotional talk with someone who's really different than us? So every day I work towards more sustainability. And sometimes me bringing my reusable water bottle and my bamboo flatware set feels like a drop in the bucket. But it's not, because every day that I reflect, every day that I gain more empathy, I become a part of a movement that is so much greater than me. And my drop in a bucket is amplified by everyone else's drop in a bucket. So what I ask of you is, how can you be resilient in the face of a changing climate? What capacity for sustainability do you have? Are you going to just simply save your water and flush with it? Because it also saves you money. Or do you have the amount of money where you can install a solar panel on your roof? Or is it going to simply start with a coffee cup that you bring everywhere with you for your caffeine fix? I ask you to look inside of yourselves, reflect on your experiences, and see your capacity for sustainability, because we need every drop in the bucket. Thank you.